What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Get in here. Get in here. It's your boy Armand Wiggins, and we are back with another video. Okay, legendary, iconic video. All right. So, what's popping, you guys? We had 2 days off, and let me tell you, you'd have thought I rested for those 2 days, but I definitely did not. Okay. The first day, there was no court because one of the jurors woke up and they were spinning in circles with vertigo. God bless her heart. She's doing much better now. And then Thursday, we had the Juneteenth weekend, and I was busy. I know I was supposed to do a Tyler Perry video, but I was working on stuff. I was filming. I was all the way in New Jersey. I just had a lot going on. And before you knew it, I had to be asleep for court in the morning. But we are here today. You guys are so cute. You guys were like texting me, hitting me up, saying, Armand, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? We haven't seen a post, anything. I'm like, you know what, y'all? Listen, sometimes I couldn't even get to the phone. But nonetheless, we are here. All right? Nonetheless, we are here. All right, so before we get into it, though, you know, we're coming down to the end of the trial, okay? The drug mule Brendon came on the stand today, and the defense announced how long they plan to plead their case. So we're going to get into that after we hear from our good girlfriend, Duchess Kelly Love. Take it away, Duchess. Take it away, baby. Take it away.
Wiggins, bringing the tea.
Yes, Duchess, we missed you.
Wiggins, bringing the tea. I said, oh my Wiggins, bringing the tea. We go down to the courthouse. Bringing the tea. He give us ID news. Bringing the tea. He is never biased. Bringing the tea. I said, now, oh my Wiggins, bringing the tea. I said, oh my Wiggins, bringing the tea. Oh my Wiggins, bringing the tea. Oh my Wiggins, bringing the tea. I want to thank all my bringing the tea. I want to thank over bringing the tea. Oh, he's sassy and classy. Bringing the tea. I said, all my Wiggins,
Bring the tea. All right, thank you, Duchess. Thank you. Gotta go. All right, guys. So we here in the light. I'm gonna tell you guys. So it's winding down. Are we gonna miss this moment, guys? We're gonna miss this, but it's winding down. Not much fireworks. I think this was the last of the star witnesses that we had. Last of the witness testimony. Brendon, the drug mule, came on the stand today. So it's getting down to the wire, and then we finished out with a summary witness. Summary witness was a little bit boring today. You know, it's very technical, and there's a lot of things that we've already heard. So the big stuff is already done. Okay. Brendon Paul gets on the stand today, and I was expecting a little bit more fireworks from him. I'm not gonna lie. The energy I got from Brendon Paul today, though, a snappity white boy. You know what I'm saying? Like the type of white boy that'll call his, you know, dad a mother and his mom a B word. You know what I mean? If he doesn't get to play with the Hot Wheels on his birthday. You know what I mean? But he's still cool, though. He's smart. He's found his way, but he's a little privileged white little mother. You know what I mean? And a little bit of an asshole. Just a tint there. You know what I mean? He'll, you know, fuck you, mommy. You stupid son of a bee. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, you know, he worked his way up. I mean, he played sports in school. He graduated at a high level. And so we get Brendon Paul. The prosecution came and, you know, they put Brendon Paul on the stand today. We started with, you know, knowing about him. He's, you know, Brendon Paul was Diddy's former, Diddy was his former boss. He was an assistant for 18 months. He started work at the end of 2022 up until the beginning of March, 2024, middle March 2024. The last day of work was March 25th. That's when he was arrested in Miami. Okay, for possession of cocaine in a go yard bag. He had to let us know it was in his go yard bag. He forgot where he put it. Diddy did not tell him to hold the cocaine. Diddy did not even know he had the 0.7 grams of cocaine. Okay. He's from Cleveland. He went to college for music production. He was called, to manage and direct through Revolt. I guess it was a guy named Eli Marin. He's a former, I think it's Marin. Elon Marin. He's a former assistant to Diddy. Okay. And so as he got the call from Diddy, he said, hey, Eli says, listen, I got this great opportunity. You're going to get to work for Diddy. He said, okay, great. I'm excited. The guy's 23 years old. He's like, wow, I get to work for Diddy at 23. No problem there. He said, I just want to tell you one thing. Here's a couple of notes. I highlighted this. He said, get in and get out. And if you have a girlfriend, you'll never see her again. I'm thinking, what? They said, well, what does that mean? Get in and get out. If you have a girlfriend, you'll never see that bitch again. They said, well, what do you think that meant? He said, well, it meant get in and get out, get the connections. And your life pretty much will be designated to Diddy. You would have to do any and everything that Diddy wants you to do. You won't have a life. Diddy will be your life. You won't have a girlfriend. Diddy will be your girlfriend. Diddy will be everything to you. But it's a great opportunity because you want to be in the music business. You want to be in music production. You want to be a star. You're 23 years old. Take the cash. Do what you need to do. Just don't sell your ass. Okay? The job is going to be very tumultuous. It's going to be a lot going on all the time. You're not going to have time for nothing else, is what he said. Okay? So then he says, no problem. He took an interview at Diddy's house. KK was there. Frankie was there. And they facilitated the interview. The interview was about 20 minutes long. And they finished with, how can you start? My thing is this. Do black people get those kind of opportunities? I'm like, because, as a child, I was always growing up and I was hearing, in the beginnings of like entertainment business and hip hop and just people, how they get their start. It's always this interesting story like, hey, this person called me and I walked down the street and bumped into Jay-Z and I was humming, and Clive Davis heard me humming at the local Walmart and signed my deal. Just stories like that you hear. This guy got a call for an opportunity. Then all of a sudden I'm at Diddy's house for 20 minutes and they asked me, how can I start? I'm thinking, where the hell have I been? Because I used to think, well, all this stuff happened before I was born, so I was too late. But now I'm finding people younger than me stumbling up on opportunities. I'm thinking, well, when am I going to trip up on $1 million contract? What is it that I got to do? How do I be at the right place at the right time? How do I have niggas that'll call me and say, hey, Wendy Williams is looking to give you a show somewhere and want you to move in and record her everyday life. And here's $1 million and we want her to throw piss at you. I'll take it. I'll sit over there, interview, record it, and you can go bat crazy on me. When do I get, how can I just stumble up on an opportunity like that? You know what I mean? How can I just say, I was just walking down the street in Queens and Nicki Minaj pulled up and said, let's go and do Queen Radio. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just waiting for that call. So if anybody would like to call me, I'm available for like a Hollywood opportunity dream story. I'm here for it. Okay. So anyway, 20-minute interview. I'm thinking, do black people get these opportunities, or is this just white people? 23 years old. I'm trying to think, what was I doing at 23? I was driving a 1992 Honda Accord, struggling, couldn't even pay $600 for rent in LA, styling Brandy on the side and working for H&M full time, robbing a Peter to pay Paul, and watching Jocelyn Hernandez on Love and Hip Hop every week. That's what I was doing. And flirting with boys on Uvu. Golly, what a day. Anyway, I was broke as hell at 23. Could you imagine? 23 at Diddy's house. Anyway, so 4 days after the interview, the white boy got the call. You've been hired. So the interview was at the house, 200 South Mapleton Street, okay? He worked primarily out of that Mapleton Street address, which was the LA house of Diddy. His job titles will be to organize suitcases, Amazon returns, and stuff weed into cones. KK would tell him to stay clear of Diddy until you get used to the environment. He didn't meet Diddy for about 2 to 3 weeks. Then he was introduced to Diddy. It was not until Diddy had the launch party for the Love album and Off the Grid is where he met him. He sat in the back. He listened to the music. They thought, what do you think? And how do you feel about the music? He gave his opinion. And, from that point on, he was into the job. He was there. KK was his direct supervisor. So he would have to go to KK for everything. He said KK is the one who ran the buzzword enterprise. Everybody got tense. Ooh, white boy is coming out strong. These are the buzzwords. This is the Rico. Enterprise. KK. He said KK and Diddy would talk all day. KK had full access to Diddy's business phones, and we know KK had everything. KK is a co-conspirator. She's the co-conspirator and contributor to the enterprise. But what was interesting about KK, she didn't do any drugs or alcohol, but she was the fixer, the hirer, and the head chief of staff. Okay. They also went into detail. They said outside of suitcases and stuffing weed, what else would you do? Made sure Diddy's meals, travel, and workouts were on point. They asked how many assistants did he have? He said, well, he started out with 5. Diddy started out with 5. Then it went to 4, 3. Then it ended at 2. They all worked together. Jonathan Perez, Frank Rodriguez was a butler. Could you imagine? And I just be thinking about everything that Diddy got going on, and I'm just hearing all this. I'm just thinking, wow, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Joey Chavez was the assistant, along with Brendon. I wrote here, Brendon doesn't mind talking, but that kind of changed a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to be honest with you. This Brendon drug mule guy, I don't think that he was the witness that the prosecution hoped for. It was even at a point, whenever I feel like the prosecution goes into reminding them that they were subpoenaed, that they have immunity, and that they could be charged for not telling the truth if they commit perjury on the stand. I feel like they do that when they feel like the person is not talking enough. And so they kind of hit him with that. They said, were you subpoenaed here? Yes. Were you given immunity? Yes. You do understand that does not protect you against any other crimes that you did prior to this? Yes. And you can be charged for the crimes that you committed during your stint with Diddy if you lie, right? Said yes. Whenever I feel like they do that reminder, it's like, the people aren't given enough juice. You're not saying, He beat me, he hit me, and I saw him doing ketamine out of a man's ass. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, they wanted to know who was the other staff. They said, security. And so Faham, Dontre, and J9, that's the new security stand. So I think D-Rock, Uncle Paulie, all of them guys are gone. I didn't know that. I don't know where they are now, but apparently they're not the security team anymore. Diddy has a new security team. He's had it for a while, I guess. So there's new security on the list. They pulled the pictures up and we saw the security guards. Now, this is where we get interesting. They asked him, how long did you work for Diddy? What were your days like? He said he worked 80 to 100 hours a week, 4 to 6 days a week. He was always on call for a whopping $75,000 a year. Here's the thing, guys. It's no shade. As a 23-year-old working for Diddy, making $75,000 a year, plus trips and travel and all of that stuff, that's not a bad gig. I probably would have done it too. That's probably all I would have wanted to do, because I would have felt like I'm in my gift, I'm in my purpose, I'm in my field. So at 23, $75K is a lot. By July 2024, he had got bumped up to $100K a year. So you're 24, 25 years old, you work for Diddy, you're traveling the world, you're making $100K a year. And then you get to do a little cocaine on the weekends. Bi-weekly, he would get paid over $4,000. He would work in various locations, LA, Miami, wherever, and then he would get Airbnbs all across Los Angeles, all across Miami, all across New York. Wherever Diddy would be, Diddy would put him in a lavish Airbnb, and he would just stay there. Then they were going through, evidence and pictures. So they showed us this big, beautiful bathroom. Diddy's he's just so meticulous. He always has like a nickname and everything is labeled, freak off and, nicknames and this one and the Gucci bag, and everything's got a nickname and a code name to it. And so this particular bathroom, we're off the grid. It's Good Fridays. It is, Suck a Dick Sunday. But this particular bathroom, they showed a picture of the bathroom, and I don't know why they showed the picture of the bathroom. I think this is where some of the drugs were or whatever. Beautiful bathroom, beautiful vanity. Oh, gorgeous. I mean, the money is oozing through the pores. The money, let me tell you something. Diddy's money is oozing through this case. I'm just sitting there listening. You got 5 security guards, one of your assistants, 5 assistants. Each assistant is making $100,000 unless you're Capricorn Clark. Remember, I think she was making somewhere around 30,000, or was it 60? Somewhere they had Capricorn broke. Anyway, why do people do that to black people? You know what I'm saying? Have the black people broke, but then you get the young white guy. You know what I mean? And you're paying him $75,000 to $100,000. Capricorn's got, an autistic son, no baby daddy, no parents, and she ain't making no money. And she's still trying to come back. Why do you do the black woman like that? $30,000 to $60,000. You got that lady working 100 hours a week, and then she can't even get no damn turkey bacon. Throwing a turkey bacon at her, hitting her, pushing her out the house. All she wanted to do was go and see a music video shoot. Hell, and all she wanted was a piece of bacon. And you tell her ain't no fucking turkey bacon. Black people don't do black people right, but I digress. White is right, I guess. So here's the thing. So we go to the big, beautiful bathroom. And this wasn't even the master. This was just in a bathroom adjacent to his bedroom and adjacent to his bathroom. And they would call this bathroom that we looked at with the big, beautiful vanity mirror and the lights and everything, marble everywhere. This was her bathroom. Now, her could be anybody. Whatever her was there at the time, that was the her quarters. Isn't that fab? Oh, how I would dream. Well, mine wouldn't be her. It would be a him and him, but it would be it would be them, the hymns, the different hymns I have or whatever. It's the hymns quarters. Whatever hole you have, whatever you got going over, you have them coming. There's a bunch of freaky stuff in there, lingerie, cocaine, methamphetamine, baby oil, or whatever. Now, what was in her bathroom, in the closet, hold on, let me show you. It was literally, it was literally 1,000 bottles of baby oil. And you know what? By the way, I had to set my baby oil game up. And so I went and got me some Johnson & Johnson. I'm going to warm that up tonight. It's the weekend. So I got this is like a big bottle. This one was about $8, I think. So I'm going to see what that's giving right now. You know what I mean? And so, because I'm just trying to figure out, like, what does this do? And so in her closet, they had about 50 to 1,000 bottles of baby oil. And they showed the picture. I'm sure the exhibits will come out soon and you guys will see them online. And then at the lower in the cabinet, it was a whole like 50 to 1,000 bottles of Astroglide. And I'm thinking, how much jerking and lubing could it be? And that was part of the job, to keep her closet stocked with baby oil and Astroglide. So you needed to walk in there and be ready to slip on some dicks. You walk in Diddy's house and you're slipping and sliding all through that motherfucker. Okay? I don't know. Diddy secretly, Diddy literally single-handedly kept Johnson & Johnson alive. Because if there wasn't enough baby oil, a motherfucker would get fired. If assets wasn't oiled and wouldn't be jacked and holes weren't wet, then you had to go, because we always needed more oil. That was a requirement to be in the presence of Diddy. If there's no oil, you ain't going. And even when Diddy would travel, he'd have just the slightest tinge, a travel-sized baby oil, like a little pocket-sized baby oil. That was kind of like the little leprechaun. You just always leave your mark. Just a touch of baby oil. Everywhere he went, that was his signature. Okay? Now, here we go. He would travel a lot with Diddy on the private jets, except maybe 3 or 4 times on a private jet. Anything else, he would travel commercial, because he'd have to go to the place first. So if Diddy said, hey, I'm going to Miami and they're in LA, he would have to get on the first flight smoking to Miami. Listen to the money talk. They said, well, why would you have to do that? Because I would have to advance wherever we were going. They said, what is advance? Advance would be, I have to set Diddy's whole place up. What did that look like? Well, I'd have to go get the baby oil, the lube, occasionally the pills, maybe some dope, candles, linens. I'd have to TP the freak off set. You guys know what that is. You cover everything in sheets. So then Diddy can just walk in or glide in, and the drawers will just slither off from the oil. And he was ready to go. They wanted to know who would book it. Diddy's people would, have everything booked up and ready to go. They talked about club appearances, which I didn't understand. They said if Diddy does a club appearance, they would have to. Diddy says if anybody wants to do a club appearance, you'd have to sell De Leon, and you have to pay $150,000 for him to walk through a club. He didn't really do much of that. I didn't understand why they wanted to know about the club appearances. Then they went into the longest period without sleep for him. He said 3 days. It was during the New York released album. I mean, he was in New York. It was during the album release. And they said, well, how did you manage to stay up while Diddy was doing his rollout? He said, white people, I would do Adderall and a little bit of cocaine. Everybody, woohoo. But everybody was doing that. Remember, Capricorn was doing that. Every assistant was doing a little cocaine, a little Adderall. Because you're getting to the vibe and you think, well, shit, pass me the cocaine. I probably would have hit a bag too. It's no tea. Let me see what bust that motherfucker now, Diddy. And yeah. I mean, she was that shit for. And shit. Okay. I'll break that motherfucker now. Remember, the last assistant got so high, he was running and jumping around the house. But he wasn't too high. He was stupid. Because remember, the first assistant said he had got so high, but then he quickly realized that Diddy would forget that he was actually at work and have him try to do stuff. So then he took his high ass home. But that was one of the very first early on assistants. That was earlier on. You got to go back and watch that video. But listen, so he would do Adderall and just ever so slightly hit a bag of dope. They said, well, before working with Diddy, did you ever do drugs? He said, well, I would smoke weed. They said, how would you describe the Diddy mission? What would that be like? What would you have to do? They said it was easy. Make sure he's happy. They said, well, this is what they were trying to get. Well, what would happen if he wasn't happy? The guy said, well, we try to make sure that doesn't happen. That wasn't the answer the prosecution wanted to hear. The prosecution wanted to hear he slapped the shit out of you, pour baby oil all over you, and shove a pistol up your ass. That's what I think they wanted to hear. They didn't want to hear, oh, no, we just didn't make that happen. Does that make sense? So, here we go. They said, have you ever been fired? He said, yes. How many times have you been fired, Mr. Paul? I got fired 2 to 3 times. And Diddy doesn't take no for an answer. They said, well, why did you get fired? He said, well, I got fired because I forgot to pack his Lululemon fanny pack, and he wanted it to go on a walk. And so Diddy got upset because I forgot to pack his fanny pack. And he told me, call KK and tell her, I'm so sorry, but I can't believe you would forget my fanny pack. And I wanted to go on a walk, and I wanted that fanny pack. So call KK, because I'm so disappointed in you, and let her know that you're fired. See, this is why also God knew, and I respect all servants and servers, but I can't be no assistant. No. Oh, because I didn't get. Well, you got a Gucci. You got it, but you just had to have a Lululemon one today to go because you wanted to go for a walk, and because you didn't have it right then and there. But I'm sure it probably had a little bit of baby oil in it. But because you didn't have it right now, all of a sudden I'm fired. Nigga, I don't have time for that kind of stuff. I don't have time for that. That's crazy. You don't fire me because you don't have your purse with you that day. Grab another one. Or don't take it. So he got fired. He called KK and said, this nigga just fired me. Probably said it with the hard ER. Probably called his dad and said, this nigga just fired me, Dad. What do I do? He had to put himself together and call KK and say, hey, KK, what do I do? I've just been fired for not giving him the Lululemon bag for him to go walk to get some Astroglide and baby oil. KK says, just lay low. I'll take care of it. So he laid low for a few weeks. Then somehow they flew him to London because he had to go advance a location in London. Diddy walks into the location and says, what's up? He said, hey. And that was that. They said, did you guys ever talk to it or do you just back at work? Said, I was just back at work. So Diddy just forgot. They just moved on. He got over it. That is a power tripping. Like, you just gonna fire me and then just bring me back. Like, don't play those kind of mental games with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really some narcissistic shit right there. You're gonna really play a mental game with me like that. This is insane. And so they said, this is when they told him that they needed him to be honest or he could go to jail and be charged. Did you ever pack any drugs for Mr. Combs? He said, yes. What kind of drugs? Cocaine, ketamine, Molly, ecstasy, Xanax. Have you ever seen Diddy do drugs? This was interesting. Yes. Mr. Paul, about how many times would you see Diddy do drugs? Maybe once a month. And after being at this case, I'm thinking this nigga is lying. One thing that Diddy is gonna do is pop him a pill, rub on some baby oil, tell you ain't shit, and have a freak off. And that's every other week. Now you talking, or every week, but you talking about you see him do it one time. I'm like, okay. He's playing games now because he lying like a mother. You see them do it once a month? Once a month is kind of crazy. I don't believe it. They said, and he loved Tootsie. They said, what is Tootsie? Tootsie is Molly and ketamine mixed with pink food coloring, I guess, for aesthetic appeal. So that's the pink dust. Mind you, this drug mule always had a picture conveniently of what was going on. So he had pictures of ecstasy and Tootsie in his hand. That's what they said. Well, what is this? He just had a picture of it in his hand that he had like took a picture and sent it. It looked like you was just having evidence. You know, white people, not like that, but I'm just saying, because I know we got a lot of white people that follow us. But, you know, his answer was, well, I was a new employee and I was straightening up the bathroom and cleaning up and I found this baggie of dope and, you know, ecstasy and Tootsie. And so I didn't know where to put it. So I just took a picture of it and I sent it in a group chat to say, where should I put this? Yeah, I would say that too. But if you know what you know, Mother is always keeping receipts for a rainy day. So maybe you did that just because you wanted to know where to put it, but you were also gagged like, look at the amount of drugs this is. And you kept that as a receipt. He said it was in the office of the Mapleton home. It was left on the desk. I didn't know where to put it, so I sent it to the other assistants. Mm-hmm. Me too. Have you ever had to obtain drugs for Diddy? Yes. We bought weed by the ounces, 2 different strands. Whenever we run out, the weed bill will run into about $4,200. How many times did you buy drugs for Diddy? More than 5, less than 10. How much in drug purchases would you spend at a time? Maybe $300 to $500. He was really lowballing the stuff. They said, well, how would you get the drugs? Well, I would text the drug dealer. Then they'd come with the drugs. What were the different drug dealers' names? One Stop? I think One Stop was the best one. I might need to see One Stop for the liquid Molly. Guido? He was the LA drug dealer. Avi? And then there was a woman. Her name was Baby Girl. I wonder what she was selling. February 20th, 2024, he texts Baby Girl. Hey, what's going on, Baby Girl? So Jonathan was the previous assistant. Jonathan introduced Brendon to the drug lady, Baby Girl, put him in a group chat and said, hey, I need some dough. She like, is it for you or who is it for? He was like, it's for Puff Daddy. But you could say it's for me because I can't really have, this thread out. It's for me. So it's for Puff, but say it's for myself because we have to protect Diddy's image. They didn't want people to just be like, oh yeah, I'm just selling drugs to Diddy. I'm just, So it was a protective. So they would be getting drugs for Diddy, but they would say it's for them. The Gucci bag would hold the dope. He'd go under names like Frank Black, which we knew. Diddy would often do Viagra and Cialis and Xanax without prescription. February 14, 2024, Diddy texts Brendon. This is Valentine's Day. Did you get the Xanax? Brendon said, I'm still working on it. I'll be able to get some tomorrow. I'm waiting to hear back from one more person. So they just showed that, hey, he was having them go out and get drugs for him. How do you pay for the drugs? Well, I pay for cash from the Gucci bag. How do you get that? Well, the head of security usually has the cash and gives me the cash. But here's the problem. At one point, Brendon was paying for the money out of his own pocket for the drugs. January 9th, the white boy ended up sending an email to KK saying, listen, I need my money. $4,200 in weed, $125 in personal items, $85 in online personal items, and $780 in personal Gucci bag items. Somehow it added up to over $5,000. They said, well, what is the personal Gucci bag items? The $780. That was the hard drugs. They said, why did you send that email? He said, well, I sent the email because it had been months and months and months, and I hadn't got reimbursed for my money. So I was out of $5,000 for Diddy's freaky shit. Okay. They said, we got you once Dukes comes in, you know, they text, we got you, bro. We got you. We got it coming. That'd be my thing. You know, have you ever been in a situation where you just need your money and people that have an abundance of money, even if it's $10, let's just take $10. You loan somebody $10 or you paid for $10 and you know this person got the money or whatever, but they take forever to pay you back. And then when you start asking for the money, they be trying to act like, well, you know, it's just $10. Like, you know, I got like whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you hounded me over $10 thing. I told you I'll get it to you. It's $10. But my thing is this, if you got the money, give me my money. Don't make me ask you for it. Diddy, you got $5,000. That's what you pay. You paid Flash. Hey, Flash. You paid Flash $5,000 just to, you know, look at his ass, and it better be hard. So run me, because $5,000 is a lot to me. And don't make me feel like I'm being petty for wanting my money. So the thing is, give people their money. So it don't even have to be all that. Because now you're going to try to minimize what I got going on. Like, we're going to get it. No. I need my money. I don't care if it's 50 cents. If you owe it to me, give it to me. Don't make me feel like I'm being petty over $40. Because I need it. But anyway. They said, well, have you ever took drugs with Diddy? Or while he was present? Well, yes. One time at a Coachella after party, Diddy said, try this and tell me if it's good. They said, well, try what? It was ketamine. Have you ever did the ketamine before? No, that was my first time. What happened when you tried it? I felt euphoric. Was it good? I guess so. And I told him it was good. Why did you do that? Well, I wanted to prove my loyalty to Diddy. Now, the freak-offs have evolved. Mind you, we're in 2023, 2024. Now, listen, from 2007, 8, 9, 10, all the way to 2018, the freak-offs were the freak-offs. That was the Cassie era. From 2021 to 2020, whenever Jane Doe got involved, they were called hotel nights. Now, for the staff, KK has renamed them. Wait till you get a load of this. They're called Wild King Nights. So KK would send a text, hey guys, it's a Wild King night tonight. We need all hands on deck. Brendon, you're going to go set up this. Jonathan, you're going to do this. We're going to have all this set up. No work in the morning because the Wild King nights are probably going to be lasting a little bit longer tonight. We've got a real freaky big black dick motherfucker coming in from, Saudi Arabia, and he's got a big 12-incher. Jane Doe's ready to go. She's ripped and ready, and she's high as hell. And so for the Wild King nights, let's just make sure it's a go. Everything's cool. We've got it under Frank Black. We're going to be at the London Hotel, and we need 50,000 bottles of baby oil by noon. Is everybody on board? Everybody got it? And if you don't have it, you're fired. Everybody gets together. It's a Wild King night, Wild King night. They love the Wild King nights because, hey, they wouldn't have to work as hard because Diddy would be getting his diddler done. Somebody said, yes, more hands and all hands on dicks. Absolutely. And so they would have the Wild King nights. They were as was Jane Doe involved, and how was she at the Wild King nights? And has Brendon ever met her? Brendon said, I've absolutely met her many times. Did it seem like Jane Doe didn't want to be there? He said, absolutely not. She loved it. She had a blast. Jane Doe was into it. She participated in it. Jane Doe was with the Wild King Knights. Okay? Did other women participate in the Wild King Knights? Like Diddy's other girlfriends? And I'm sitting at the edge of my seat. Because the only other one I care about is that big face jughead Young Miami. And of course, Brendon lets us down. Not that I'm aware of. Oh, I could feel the prosecution just die. You were supposed to say yes. I remember a time Young Miami, she stood and got pissed on. That's what we wanted to hear. And KK has the video. I'm thinking that's what you're supposed to say. He don't understand. But instead he said no. It was just Jane Doe. She was the one. I'm like, okay. We knew that she was a hoe when she was going. But KK has renamed them to Wild King Knights. Then they started talking about the Cassie lawsuit and, pretty much Diddy stopped popping up at the hotels as much when Cassie's lawsuit hit. They asked him what would he have to do for the hotels and the Wild King Knights. What was that like? He'd have to set up and clean up. Sometimes the hotels would be put up in Frank Black, or they'd be put in the name Joey. He did it 3 or 4 times, setting it up. KK instructed him to do everything. I wrote KK is a co-conspirator. KK had detailed notes. Like I told you before, hey, guys, Diddy's ready for a freak off. It's going to be a Wild King night tonight. Jane Doe is flying into town. Flash is in town. The BBCs are here. The oil is here. After dinner, they're going to slide into the All Kings nights. Make sure the baby oil bathtub and the baby oil pool is full to the top. Blindfolds, ketamine, weed, cocaine, everything's there. And also, all hands on deck, be ready to clean up after. But here was my thing that always threw me off about this. How much cleaning up could you do at the freak off or the Wild King nights? Because it wasn't like, so they showed the picture. They showed a picture of the advanced room. And see, I don't have enough time and enough materials in here. But everything in a nutshell, I got to see if I got anything in this closet. But it would be white. And everything in here would just be covered up like this. Everything was covered up. Everything was covered like that. Everything is covered up. Everything. But it's all white. So everything's just covered up, covered up, covered up. The walls, everything is covered up, covered up. Everything is covered up. Okay? You guys will see this in the exhibits when it comes out, I'm sure. So they covered everything up like a freaking, like a teepee, like a kid, like playing a teepee house in white. I never understood why, Diddy, you got all these damn requests. Why wouldn't you do it in like black or red or something? I don't know. Because here was always my thing. I'm sitting there thinking, well, what is the point for them coming up to cover everything up and to clean it up? Because he would have to clean it up. They said, well, why would you then go clean it up? Well, because they said, well, then what the cleaning up, how would that work? He said, I would throw on gloves. They said, well, why would you throw on gloves? He was like, well, for sanitary reasons. A little smart, sassy white guy. He said, okay, so I would throw on gloves and clean it up, and we would clean it up just to make sure that we didn't get fined too much. But my thing is, what are you cleaning up? Every damn hotel, Diddy ends up occurring damage charges from anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 to $5,000 in damages because there's so much damn baby oil everywhere. One hotel said it was hella baby oil all over the floor. The sheets and blankets were soiled in baby oil and bodily fluids. And so, to me, that says, come piss and spit mixed with baby oil. So he just be in there just shooting the boy. Yeah, shoot that. But then my whole thing is, then the nigga would have his own personal baby oil. Now this is mine. But then I guess what's going, he just fuck it. And remember, some reports said the baby oil handprints will be on the wall. Just tearing in people's place up. So everywhere you go, you get these expensive rooms, and then you add a $5,000 damages fee. Sometimes Brendon said he would give cash and like a tip to the Consuela and stuff. That was cleaning the place. Crazy. PD is active. They would send these in the text. Diddy's active. I don't know if it was a running joke. You know your staff, how they just talk about you behind your back. Running joke. Because they say, PD is active right now. Send it in a group message. Then they say, like, what kind of active? Wild King's active or Gucci bag active? That was the response from KK. Well, what does that mean? That means either the nigga's finna get into a freak off or a drug binge. And then they said, well, which one was it, Brendon? It was in between the two. So it was a little bit of both. He's up, and everybody get on guard, because the nigga's ready to get horny and high. You better have oil, and you better have some pink cocaine. And if not, you're fired. There's one thing I'm going to do is squirt some oil and hit me some dope. So everybody jumps up and charges and grabs baby oil. They jump up and they have to run to the nearest cabinet. But the thing is this, baby oil is in all crevices of the house. So it's all good. You know what I'm saying? You got baby oil in the refrigerator, baby oil in your ass, baby oil in the cabinet, baby oil in the room, baby oil in your shoe, baby oil in your pockets. You probably leave home with baby oil. Like, damn it, I got baby oil, everything. I probably would have, you know what? I'm not even gonna lie to you. One time, I think what made me buy this, I didn't even tell y'all this for the last couple of days. I had a dream about baby oil. I had a dream that baby oil just jumped on me and attacked me. It just was just all over me. And I was like, I can't do this. I was smothering and drowning in baby oil. I'm having baby oil nightmares. So I know they already knew. Okay, PD is up. So they got to think, do I go grab the dope or grab the baby oil or grab both? And so they had to think quick on their feet. They got into the group chat and everybody got on guard, got ready and got in line and everything was set up and moving. KK was delegating. Okay, you're on Astroglide, you're on baby oil, you're on ecstasy. Jane Doe is on the way. And we got the escort here. Diddy's reared up, bottomless, hoodied up, glasses up, bandanaed up, nothing at the bottom. He's loose, wet, and ready. And everybody better get on guard and get ready. Because when the diggler starts to dig, you better get out of his way. And that dick better be hard, or you ain't getting no money. So everybody had to get ready, because when he gets masked up, hoodied up, and bottomless, it's showtime. Okay? And so everybody got their shit together. And so Brendon would then have to go on top of the baby oil, go grab candles and the Diddy lights. Could you imagine that? You have to go and haul lights all over town already, because he's sitting there oiled up and ready to go. And if the lights ain't there, it's a problem. Where's my oil and my light? Could you just imagine right here. I'm sitting there. You got all these people working for you. You got all this money. You tied up. You got glasses of bandana on. Bottomless. And they say and then according to Flash, it don't even come out the top of his hand. You sitting there, it's not even in the top. It's tucked in between your fingers. And you sitting there waiting and having all your assistants run frantically, because you got, mind you, the baby oil hit here. And now you need more oil. You need Astroglide, but the Diddy lights ain't working. And you ready to go. Jane Doe was there. According to her, sometimes she was itching, sometimes she wasn't. And you're trying to get the freak off going, or the Wild King night, but you just need a light. And if you didn't have that light, that was your ass. I'm not running around doing, this is not what I signed up for. I didn't sign up to be your freaky wild. I don't want to do this job. I don't want that job. That's not the job. That's not what I signed up for. I want to do the music stuff. I want to do the Grammys and, you know, the Met Gala. I want to do the album. I don't want to be carrying Diddy lights and baby oil. This is not what I went to school for, to be fucking babysitting baby oil and keep refilling fucking baby oil all day and setting up rooms and putting on gloves. I'm not a freaking, what is this? Bodily fluids and piss. I don't want to do that. Don't hire me for that. He had to make sure the cabinets were stocked with baby oil and Astroglide. And they said, well, why did you take a picture of that? Because the nigga had a picture of it. And it definitely looked like 1,000 bottles in there. They weren't the big bottles. They were like the intermediate bottles. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of like a, you know what I mean? It was just kind of like, but it was enough. It was like hella bottles of baby oil, and it was like stacked so super neat, and it went all the way to the back. Then they would have the baby oil, the 3 or 4 levels of baby oil, then it was like another 3 or 4 levels of Astroglide. Remind me, if I ever meet Diddy again, who probably would hate me, because I met him like twice, I don't think I ever want to shake his hand, because now I know where your hand has been. You're jacking off all day. So he they said, well, why did you take that picture? He said, well, I took the picture because we had a house manager. The house manager would stock it, but I didn't like the way that he stocked it. So he pretty much told on him and said, well, I do it myself. Because now, instead of, assisting with something else that was more important, you're now fighting with the house manager over the organization of the baby oil and Astroglide. No, you got the baby oil quicker. The baby oil goes on the second row, not the last row. No, the baby oil, this is Johnson & Johnson, that's Jergens. They fighting over the baby oil. And the property manager is probably thinking, well, shit, just put it in the cabinet. But it's got to be a certain way. And if the baby oil ain't set up this way, it's going to be a problem. I'm finna open this right now because I just want to see what does, and you see how it shoots out. So I know they was probably in there just really, you know what I'm saying? Let me try something really fast. Hold on. I just want to see like what it does. Like, do you just, let me see, does it, oh, 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 yeah. Oh, there is, oh, 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 oh. Okay, I get it. 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 Okay. I get it. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. I get it. I get it. Oh, wow. I get it. I get it. It's like a aphrodisiac. I get it. I get it. Now, do you put it in your face too? I get it. I get it. Oh, yes. I get it. Oh, yeah, I get it. Okay. So you just throw it on there and you just start shooting it all over the place. I get it. I just wanted to say, like, 'cause what did that do? Wow. Okay. So after that, they talked about the cleanup. Oh, I also wrote, I don't know if the prosecution is getting what they ultimately wanted out of this testimony. Because he was talking, but he wasn't talking. You know what I'm saying? He was talking, but he wasn't talking. We talked about him putting on the gloves and the cleaning up, the sanitary stuff. Okay. What would Diddy do if he needed something during a Wild King night? He said he will call us. Who would provide Diddy with cash? Well, Diddy would get the cash from the security, or we'd drop the cash off. It would just be a thing. I think they were trying to prove that, like, this was like, him paying for the escorts and, the enterprise. It just wasn't coming across the way that I feel like they wanted it to. Then they showed a picture, March 25th, the day that he got arrested. It was him, Diddy, and KK on the private jet. He was on the private jet looking crazy. Diddy was looking crazy as hell. KK was looking crazy. They all looked like they had seen a ghost. I'm like, who took that picture? But this is where Brendon had the cocaine. You'll see the pictures when they come out. Well, Brendon had the cocaine in his pocket. He didn't know. Was it your cocaine? He said no. He said, then he got cocky. My charges were dropped, though, because I got a good lawyer. Have you talked to Diddy since the incident? No. Have you seen Diddy? No. When's the last time? Well, the last time was the last time. He said, he pretty much got off because he took drug tests and he passed all that. He wasn't really a drug addict, He wasn't that. So then Brian Steele gets into the mix for the cross-examination. They rested their case. Brian Steele gets in the mix. So Brian Steele really handles this guy with kid gloves. Brian Steele says, hey, pretty much, you're a scholar, you're an athlete, you're a smart guy. You know what I mean? You got the opportunity at 23 years old to work for Diddy. The guy's like, yes, yes, yes. Great job. Yes. You said to the prosecution that you worked 80 to 100 hours, making $75,000. You would have loved that, right? Because you're working in your gift. You're making $75,000 a year. You're working for Sean Combs. He's like, yeah, I love, like, that's cool. So you wanted to work those hours. You wanted to do that, right? He goes, well, I wouldn't say I wanted to work that long. I didn't want it to work for 3 days straight, but I get it. Yeah. But it wasn't just you working. True. It was Sean Combs was working too. Mr. Combs was working too. Everybody was working because you guys are putting together this project. True. True. So this was like you were working in your field. You're doing what you love to do. You were in the music business. You were in the entertainment business. Yes, true. So I see what Brian Steele did there. Brian Steele said, listen, while the prosecution is trying to paint this as being overworked and underpaid, I'm going to spin this and say, hey, this is something that somebody is hungry and they're working for a once in a lifetime opportunity. They're working for a billionaire and then they have direct access into the music business. Anybody would work long hours. I mean, shit, I probably would do it too, especially if the whole team is doing it. So Brian Steele was like, he was basically saying, it's not like Diddy is somewhere, sleeping. You guys were rolling out his project. So as a team, you guys want this project to go over well. So you worked around the clock. And for the most of us, we all probably would have done that. Yeah, we would have been tired, but I probably would have been up for the 3 days too. I would have went to the bathroom, hit my bump, and kept him pushing. You know what I'm saying? You wanted to learn and soak up everything that you could, right? True. You were excited about the job. True. Even when people told you to get in and get out, you still loved it, didn't you? True. True. 23 years old, making $75,000 a year and getting a great opportunity. True. True. It's true he needed a team because, he would get thousands of text messages like you said. So this is why you guys would filter through his messages. True. Working for all those hours. You're like, I'm getting to work for Diddy. It was amazing. True. Yeah. And you've also testified that you didn't even see Mr. Combs doing drugs. You seen him do it like maybe once a month. How much cocaine did you actually have on you? 0.7 grams. So it was like not even that much. True. True. And you even said yourself, you didn't really even carry drugs for Mr. Combs like that. Mr. Combs didn't even know you had the drugs. True. True. You had just forgot to put it in the other bag and left it in your pocket. True? True. This was clearly for personal use for Mr. Combs, right? True. You only saw Diddy actually do drugs one time. True. True. And KK doesn't do drugs or alcohol. Is that correct? True. So you aren't some sort of drug mule. You're not a drug mule, are you? You were never a drug mule. He says, no, I was never a drug mule. Ever. What is a drug mule? Well, I think a drug mule is somebody that, packs kilos of dope and stuff overseas across state lines. That's not you though, right? 0.7 ounces. You forgot to pack it. It was one time. You don't do drugs. It was clearly for personal use. A drug mule? That's not you. No, absolutely not. I said Brian Steele's minimizing the drugs and the freak offs and the overwork down to personal use, something light, and work opportunities. He took each one of those things that the prosecution tried to highlight and he made it seem like, well, he occasionally gets high. The freak offs are here and there, when he wants to have fun. And you being overworked, not sleeping for 3 days, having to do Adderall and do cocaine, that's because you had the opportunity of a lifetime and you were hungry. You were 23 making $75,000 a year working for one of the most powerful men in the music business. You were excited. They asked him, did Jane ever look upset about being in a freak off? He said, absolutely not. Jane Doe never looked upset about being in a freak off. How many times did you talk to Jane Doe? After or before or during a freak off? Not during, but around a freak off. Every time. So I'm like, ooh, this drug mule is kind of flipping a little bit. And then it started getting to objection from the prosecution. They were feeling some type of way. Did Jane look like she didn't want to do it? The drug mule says absolutely not. She didn't look like she wasn't going. When you said enterprise as referring to KK, you didn't mean criminal enterprise, did you? No. You meant like enterprise as in a big company. Yes, true. If he was a criminal, you wouldn't have worked for him, correct? Absolutely. KK never told you to carry drugs. No, it was an accident. Diddy is not just demanding people just to stand up and work, right? He's working too. True. True. You got a lot out of this. Yes. Correct. You wanted to work the long hours because you understood you were working towards a goal. As of today, looking back, would you think you are indebted to working for Diddy? So, well, I don't know what you mean by indebted. Meaning like you feel like he gave you an opportunity. Yes, it was great. You have no axe to grind with Diddy. Objection. Without immunity, you were going to tell the truth anyway. True. True. And so now we get into the redirect. Did you know what was happening at the Wild King nights? This is the prosecution, they're back. Objection. Now, Brian Steele started objecting just every word the prosecution was saying. Brian, okay, so let me tell you about Brian Steele real quick. Brian Steele, I've figured out his tactic. So Brian Steele will object on a redirect of his cross-examination, especially if he's made a good point on his cross. He will object to throw your redirect off. That's number one. Number two, while he's doing a cross-examination, Brian Steele throws out a bunch of things that are very much so sustainable. Like they're not going to get overruled. He throws out things that he knows he's not supposed to say. His line of questioning, he knows it's not going to get put through. He knows that there's going to be an objection to his line of questioning, but he doesn't care. His idea is, I'm going to say it, even if they object. The jurors have already heard it, so it starts to plant the seed of doubt within the jury. I don't care if it's like, if you object to it and it gets sustained or over whatever. As long as the jury's heard it, I'm pushing my narrative. I don't care what you're saying over here. Brian Steele will go, so you're a liar. Objection. Sustain. Ask another question, Brian Steele. So you meant to lie. Objection. Sustain. You got to redirect the question. So when you lied on Diddy for your own personal gain, objection, Your Honor, can we do a sidebar? But at that point, now we're already thinking, this bitch is a liar. And now you done made us go to a sidebar. So now we feel like, oh, okay. So he was doing this thing and had the prosecution sweating. So that's Brian Steele's tactic. He doesn't care to get the question through for you to answer it. He know you're not going to be able to answer the question. I don't care if you can answer the question. I want the jury to know that you are a liar. And I'm just going to say it. That's what he do. That's how he give it up. So he's a king. That's how he give it up. All right. So in the redirect, so you couldn't tell if anything is illegal was happening. No. Objection. This is what Brian Steele is doing now. How much money did you obtain for Diddy? Objection. This is where they was going to get him. So how did you get, what was the $5,000 used for the Wild King? Objection. Sustained. He said, hey, you're going to have to figure out how to get to your question that you're trying to answer. Because the prosecution was pretty much trying to say, okay, if you felt like Diddy wasn't doing anything criminal, why did you need $5,000 in cash for a Wild King night? And you knew an escort was coming in. You knew Jane Doe was coming in. You set up the freak off. What did you think the $5,000 was for? But she couldn't just ask it like that because he wouldn't answer it. Brian still kept objecting to what she was saying. So she had to go break down layer by layer. Have you ever needed to go get money? Yes. At what point would you need to go get money on a Wednesday night for a Wild King night? And what did you think when you went to go ask for Hod when you walked to the store for the $5,000 that it would be then used for when you walk back across the street just to, go to the hotel room where Frank Black was and hand him the money? At any point did you ever think that the cash that you were using or getting for Diddy could have been used for the Wild King? Like, you got to do all of that just to say, was the $5K for the freak off and the escort? I'm like, damn, we all know what you're trying to ask, but for some reason, they can't just ask it like that. So they got to break it all the way down just to get to that question. And they said, can you remind the jury again what you would have to do for Diddy in these Wild King nights? I'd have to get liquor, candles, baby oil, lights, Astroglide, and I'd have to clean up the hotels. Sitting here today, this is what's interesting, and everybody feels this way. Now, I'm going to tell you this. The prosecution, she ate this last part up. It's no shade. Sitting here today, how do you feel about Mr. Combs? The guy said, it's complicated. She said, in the cross-examination, Mr. Steele said that, you're working for a billionaire. You never seen him do any crimes. It was a dream job of a lifetime. You were hungry. You were so inspired. True? It was a great opportunity for you. Young, making so much money. You were happy to be there. True? True. You never seen him do anything criminal. You weren't working for a criminal. True. Sir, what happened to you on the last day of your employment? I got arrested. No further questions. So she ate that. Like, all of this stuff. He's such a great person. He sold this. He sold that. A great opportunity. You're soaking it all in. But nigga, you got fired because you got arrested. So some opportunity, it landed you in jail. Now you're subpoenaed in court, and this nigga's fighting federal RICO crimes. Big opportunity. You just fought a drug charge. And now you're over here trying to save your name from being a drug mule. Some great opportunity. You're fighting a drug charge and sitting up here in federal court testifying against your boss. No further questions. Nice try. No further questions, Your Honor. I was like, oh, shit, ain't that. No shade. Shit kind of ain't that. It's no too. Shit ain't that right on up. So I got a couple of little notes from the witness summary. Just a little. Now these are little messy and salacious things that you guys would like. So apparently, I'm just gonna sum it up for you. But apparently, so the Met Gala, you guys remember when Cassie and Diddy? Okay, let me just show you. Let me see if I have it here. Hold on. Remember this night? Well, I don't know which exactly what Met Gala it was, but it was a Met Gala. I'm not saying it was this one, but it was one of them. We're just gonna pull up one. I forget what year this was. I don't know if it was 2017, it was this one. And she looked over it now that I could see it. Hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can pull this up. Okay, so remember when Cassie and Diddy went to the Met Gala? Hold on. Let me see if I could add this real quick. Okay, here we go. So y'all remember that? So child, I feel like we found out some new tea. So this night, apparently Cassie got dragged and beat by her hair and everything. All because she didn't want to do a freak off. Diddy had texted Cassie and told her basically, B, you really think you can make me jerk my dick for 10 hours? You're crazy. 1 minute you're down, and the next minute you act like you hate this and you don't want to do it. I'm just trying to figure out how to get this nut out my. And so Cassie was saying, like, you just can't be putting your hands on me. I like to do freak offs when we both want to do it, but it doesn't, you're dragging me and beating me up because I didn't want to do a freak off. You can't be hitting me because I'm being defiant. So Diddy pretty much told her, listen here, B, you're ungrateful. Do you know if I could have took any other woman and treated any other woman, they would be so happy. And you're not happy. You're ungrateful. You don't want to do the freak off. And she's saying, I didn't ask you to go to the Met Gala. You took me to the Met. So let's not do that. And just because you took me to the Met Gala doesn't mean I need to suck 10 dicks tonight. So he wanted her after this Met Gala to get slaughtered in a freak off. She didn't want to do it. So he tried to guilt trip her and to say that she was ungrateful and unappreciative. He was saying that she was ungrateful and unappreciative. Hold on. Let me do this real quick. One sec. Hold on. Real quick. Okay, so she said, you treat me like a hooker. You always want a calm one. But you always had one. This one has been here for 10 years. Talking about herself. That was hard. She said, you're at a point in your life where you want to party. I'm at a point in my life where I'm trying to focus and get myself together. Because if I don't do it, I'm never going to do it. I ain't going to amount to shit. She was basically saying, I'm not saying I don't want to do it, but it seems like that's my sole existence with you. And he took her to the Met Gala. She didn't ask to go to the Met Gala. She said, I didn't ask to go to the Met Gala. I asked to have my record put out after 1,000,000 years. You wanted me to go to the Met Gala. I wanted my record to come out. That never came out. But we all knew as soon as she signed with Diddy, it was over for Cassie anyway. Remember, we quietly never seen her again. But what we didn't know, she was getting beat, stumped, drop kicked, roundhouse kicked, and freaked off with sores. Diddy dragged Cassie by her hair the night of the Met Gala, and Diddy blamed Cassie and said she was acting like a bee the whole night, being unappreciative, and any other girl would have been appreciative. And so that was that for the most part. They talked about some, then they brought the summary witness in, and we kind of went over that about the, the hotel repairs and how pretty much he had every hotel room was pretty much destroyed due to baby oil, bodily fluids, and all kind of freaky stuff from the freak-offs. And and then we just stopped. So we'll get back to that, finish that testimony Monday. So guys, my synopsis of this situation, I don't know how this is going to go. What's very interesting, though, to me is the defense has now came and said that they need 1 or 2 days to plead their case. I don't know what that means. I don't know if they feel like, okay, this is all BS, we're going to win. Or I don't know if that means they don't have enough people that's willing to testify on his behalf and be a part of him socially. So people are like, I'm not getting up there. But they're planning to wrap Diddy's part of the case between Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't know what that means. That's really, really quick. And so we could go into deliberations as soon as Thursday. I don't know how long we will have a verdict, like it'll take to get a verdict, but we could be done next week. Now, I don't know how this is going to go. It can go either. I don't know. We just going to see. We going to see. I don't know how it's going to go, child. It's going to be very, very interesting. Do I think that Diddy is guilty? I mean, it's clear as day that he did it. He doesn't really care about anybody but himself. He's a narcissist, for sure. I think people are looking at, well, he was just a freak, and those girls were with it to a certain degree, but it was more so the inner workings of KK and the setting up. To me, that's the enterprise. It was a whole thing. They had cold words. Is it a Wow King night? A Gucci bag night? You fly the stripper in? You fly the hoe in? Everything would have to lead to that. When Cassie didn't want to do the freak off, she was ungrateful. Everything led back, when it came to Cassie and Jane Doe, it led back to the freak off. And if they didn't do it in some way or way or another, they were punished, whether it be physically, financially, mentally. If you didn't give him a freak off, he made you feel bad one way or another. At this point, it's very clear. He would manipulate you into wanting to do the freak off. So at some point, sometimes you might have wanted to do it, but then everybody keeps saying, I should have never opened that door up because he's an addict. So they might have wanted to do it in the beginning. Like, okay, I'm down. It's be fun. We're having a good time. But whenever they do it, they don't realize what they've gotten themselves into. But by that time, it's too late. And he's already I got a freak off partner. Boom. And that's all you become to him. And that's how you keep the benefit. The problem is, if anybody gets with Diddy today, you need to have your own money and you can't open the door to a freak off. Because if you're broke, looking for an opportunity, or willing to do a freak off, you're locked in that web, and that's where he's going to put you, and you're not working your way out. And the only way out is through death or a beatdown or through court. You get what I'm saying? So you're never getting out of that. Once he realizes you're in that, that's who you are. And he's going to use you up. It's clear. It's very clear. It's very, very, very clear. The escorts is very clear. The trafficking is clear. The prostitution is clear. It's clear. So we'll see. So I don't know. I'll be oiled up and ready to go and see what's going on. So anyway, thanks for coming on early, guys. This weekend I'm still gonna do. I did not forget about y'all. It's just been super, super busy, but we got more content to go. So I'll talk to y'all soon. Make sure y'all subscribe. I know I came on early, but it was because we got out of the court early, and you guys kept hitting me up, wanting to know if I was alive and okay, and I'm here. But so I wanted to get it to you guys early. I know some of you guys are gonna catch the replay. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, have a fantastic weekend. Be on the lookout because we're gonna probably do some other content this weekend as well. So I love you all. Thanks for being here. Tyler Perry is coming. I promise you. That's our next big one. We're getting in on that. I'm just catching up. All right, y'all. I love y'all. And please donate to the More Oil Fund because we need it. Or super chat. Y'all know. Okay, hold on. Venmo, please. Or Cash App, something. Send your donations because we need it. New York has been very expensive. All right, so I love y'all, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.